Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news. Big shout out to Wilfred who says this community is the best in the world in my opinion. I totally agree. Sorry for being a bit late. I was streaming. I thought I was streaming and I wasn't, but I've just done a 13-hour stream yesterday. We raised £100,000 in 12 hours. No, not in 12 hours. We raised £33,000 in 12 hours and we raised £100,000 for charity in the last 3 years. So well done. Anybody who got involved with that yesterday, you're absolute legends. Feeling good today. World Cup starts. We'll be on That's Football again for that. All the watch-alongs are going to be on That's Football. We've got some studio shows for you there. Obviously, we had the studio show last night. I hope you've checked that out. Ten Hag half-season review. But lots to talk about this morning. Jadon Sancho concerns came to light yesterday. We'll talk about that. Anthony Martial could be going to the World Cup. What do you think about that? We need a poll on that. And Cristiano Ronaldo could be heading to Real Madrid or Chelsea. Some big stories about that as well. So lots to get into this morning. And we've put the Christmas tree up because you know what? It's the most wonderful time of the year, isn't it? And, you know, I think people are feeling a little bit uncertain about this World Cup. And, you know, I think we all wish that I certainly am going to miss Manchester United playing on the build-up to Christmas. I think it's one of the many reasons I'm not a big fan of this World Cup. People have said, well, don't watch it then. You know what, you can do that. Swivel on it. I'll do what I bloody well like. I love football. I will watch the World Cup. I'm not going to miss out on the World Cup just because of everything that's going on. But I don't like this World Cup for many reasons. I think it was awarded to the wrong nation. I think there was a lot dubious decision behind that. I think that there's a lot of stuff that's gone on over there, which is very dubious as well. But more importantly for me on a footballing level, look at all the players that are missing this World Cup. Look at what we're missing as football fans to accommodate this World Cup. We don't get the Christmas fixtures, the build-up and all that. We've got a Christmas World Cup. Our players are playing 3 times a week to fit a load of tournaments in before the World Cup and they'll be doing it afterwards. I'm just not a big fan of it. And I think it's, to me, it feels like a COVID World Cup. It feels like a World Cup that's just being shoehorned in that actually people will forget when we go to America and Mexico and Canada in 4 years and say, yeah, that wasn't a great World Cup. I might be completely wrong, but we'll see. Anyway, we've got the massive game of Qatar-Ecuador coming up this afternoon at 4 o'clock on That's Football and then England tomorrow, so make sure you're tuning in for that. But into the Manchester United stuff, look, some big stories coming out that France are now saying, according to Liam, that no one, I think it's confirmed that no one's going to be called up by France. I think they can call somebody up. Should he get called up to the World Cup? We've got a poll going. 68% said that they should do. I want to talk about this Sancho stuff and I want to talk about the Ronaldo stuff. But let's talk about the Martial story. So Benzema is going to miss the World Cup. He will not be replaced in the list announced Didier Deschamps as Lars. But you know what? I think that if it happens, or if it had happened, or if it's going to happen, hypothetically, it may not be going to happen. L'Equipe, or L'Equipe, or however you pronounce it, the French outlet, are saying that Anthony Martial could be called up. I think France should be allowed to call somebody up for a start. I mean, the tournament's not even started, and Benzema is one of the best strikers in the world. So I think it's very harsh on France not to be able to call somebody up. But I suppose from a Manchester United point of view, it's about, do you want a player to go to the World Cup who's hardly played for us this season? On a personal level, if he wants to go, I want him to go. It's the same for Varane. You know, it's better for United if Varane doesn't go to the World Cup. I mean, he's been injured for the last 4 weeks, but he's going to play in the World Cup. But, you know, I want him to do what he wants to do. Varane's a very good player for Manchester United, and I want him to do what he wants to do. I can't say differently because it's Anthony Martial. I think it's better if Martial doesn't go to the World Cup, but then part of me goes, well, if he's going to get injured, we may as well see him get injured in the World Cup rather than, you know, on Boxing Day or whenever we play next and then he's out, or February. So I think we're at that point with Martial where we actually do need we do need Martial to be playing games. So for me, maybe he's not going to the World Cup. Maybe Deschamps is not going to call anybody else up. Maybe he is. Maybe it won't be Martial. But I've got to say, hand on heart, I hope if he is asked to go, I hope he goes, because I think that the only reason you would say no is because he's been injured a lot and you don't want him to get injured. But what's the difference between Martial going to the World Cup and getting injured after 2 games, or getting injured for us in January? If he is injury prone, he will get injury for us anyway. I think the sooner we find out whether he is genuinely injury prone, the better. And if he goes to the World Cup and gets injured within a week, I think that would be his 4th injury in the first 3 months of the season. So, you know, I've got no problem. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, DUS, which we're not actually playing. Vigo says he shouldn't be going, and Giroud's better for France. Well, Giroud's already there, Stunner, so it's whether they call somebody else up. But I completely get it. I mean, 68% of you are saying yes, he should go. Obviously, 32% are saying no. Sorry, 22%. Get my maths right. 21% now. No, 31%. I need to wake up from this stream. Yeah, but for me, I would be happy if he went. I've got to be honest, I would be happy if he went. I don't know whether he is going to go. I've got to be honest, it feels like it won't happen. But as we know, Benzema is out of the World Cup. I think France should be able to replace somebody. He would have been a starter for France as well. They've lost Nkunku. I think they should be able to replace somebody. I think France should replace him with somebody. And I think that Martial should go. People are saying Giroud is better. Giroud is already in the World Cup squad. We're not talking about fucking Giroud. We're talking about should France be able to call somebody else up. Giroud is already in the squad. You can't clone Giroud and call somebody else up. We're saying should Martial replace Benzema in the squad? They've got a place in their squad. That's what we're talking about, okay? And then we're saying, as Manchester United fans, would you be happy if Martial wanted to go or not, or was going? Morning, Mark. I'm concerned about how many injuries are happening in training. How many will happen during the World Cup? It's a joke, says Barry. On a serious level, Barry, I'm not too fussed about how many injuries happen in the World Cup. Obviously, that could have an impact on Manchester United. But I'll tell you this for free. People are going to reap this World Cup in January, February, March and April. 100%. The Harry Maguires, the Luke Shaws, the Varans, the Ronaldo, well, we're not Ronaldos, the Bruno Fernandes, they're getting injured. 100% they're getting injured. They won't be able to play every game. And not at all. I can't believe how naive people are that they think this World Cup's a good idea in relation to football welfare. Footballers' welfare, there will be a lot of injuries coming up. Get rid of you. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think there's any update at the moment with Martial. But I suppose the question is, would you be happy for him to go? And looking at the chat, the vast majority of you would be happy for him to go, which is interesting, isn't it? But now the Telefoot is saying that Didier Deschamps will not call any other player up to replace Benzema. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think the vast majority of you would be quite happy if he did go. So fair play to you. Just a reminder to all the haters in the chat who were being knobheads this morning. £33,000 we raised yesterday. You clearly weren't there, as many of us were streaming for 13 hours, raising £33,000 in 12 hours for people with terminal illness. So thanks for all your comments in the chat, being what I would call idiots. There is a minority in there today. Obviously, the vast majority are good people. And as we know, this community is the best community out there because it can do powerful things like that and help people. So thank you very much for that. But and we've raised £100,000. This little community has raised £100,000 in 3 years as well. So yeah, big shout out to this community. Love it. Absolutely love you all. Fantastic community. What a great community we have. Thank you very much. You are so brilliant. It's amazing. £100,000 in 3 years, £32,000 in 12 hours for people with terminal illness to support them and their family and friends. Amazing. Absolutely superb. What a lovely, good community we have. Fantastic. And all you haters in here, have a lovely day. Have a lovely, lovely day. That will be really hurting them. That's why I wanted to send that message to them. The knobhead minority, as I call them. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about something very serious, Jadon Sancho. So there was some concerns yesterday about Jadon Sancho and how he deleted all his Instagram posts. Give me a swig of coffee here. So I was doing my live stream at the time and there was this story coming in that he deleted all his Instagram posts, and lots of people quite rightly were saying, what's wrong with Jadon Sancho? Concerned about his mental health and things like that. You know, very valid points. We had a couple of updates from the Manchester Evening News. Jadon Sancho wants to use the World Cup as a break, as an opportunity to focus on his family life before turning his attention to the next stage of the Premier League season with Manchester United and regaining a starring role in Ten Hag's side. And then also from Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News, says Jadon Sancho is taking a break from social media as he wants to focus on his family and the remainder of the season with Manchester United. Well, I can only applaud this. I mean, I don't know the mental health status of Jadon Sancho, but I know the mental health status of myself at times, and I'm sure many other people. Sometimes you're not in a good mood. Sometimes things are not going your way, and you go on social media and you see things that make you feel worse. And that could be looking at the England squad having a good time in Qatar and thinking, I really should have been there. Not jealousy, not because it's been rubbed in his face, but because Jadon Sancho was part of the Euros squad. He's not part of the World Cup squad. It's a World Cup. People want to play in the World Cup. He's not there. That could be something that's bothering him. Of course, you've got the hate and the trolls on there as well. That could be bothering him. So I think it's a very mature approach to just go and isolate yourself from something that is really bothering you. He's not playing in the World Cup. Manchester United are not playing for 6 weeks. Does he need to be on social media if it's causing him issues? No, he doesn't. I think it's a very mature role. And I would say this as well. None of us know how we would live our lives if we were a professional footballer. I mean, Ronaldo said last week he doesn't take any notice of what people say about him, but he seems to know a lot about what people say about him, whether it's Wayne Rooney, Gary Neville, or Jamie Carragher. So he obviously does monitor stuff, and I think that if you're a professional footballer on the verge of the England squad playing for Manchester United, do you need to be on Twitter? Do you need to be on Instagram? Do you need to be following the stories about you? Because I guarantee you, if you become that person, if you ever get any level of people talking about you, it's nice when you see the nice stuff, but even in the nice stuff, even if you do the nicest thing in the world, like I was doing a stream yesterday, there was still horrific stuff going on in the comments, and some of it was disgusting, even though you're raising money for people with terminal illness. So unless you've got the mindset that you are in a good place, that you can deal with the good and the bad, I've got no issue, and I don't think anybody would have any issue with Jadon Sancho going, look, I'm not in a good place. As a footballer, I'm not in a good place, and maybe mentally he's not in a good place. What a great idea to go, yeah, I'm just going to, just put your phone down, and I'm not going on. If he doesn't go on social media, he can't see it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's an absolutely great idea, and Jadon Sancho should be applauded for it, because if you don't see it, you don't feel it. And you focus on you and your family. I think it's brilliant. I don't even think it's a drama. I think footballer decides to take themselves off social media for 6 weeks to focus on them and their friends and family. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If that is going to help Jadon Sancho, I think it's great. Should Martial go to the World Cup with France? I don't think he's going to go, but that was what the polls are all about. And there's a second part to that. Haters are going to hate. Well done to you and the team on the charity, says Bob. Thank you very much. The second thing I want to say as well is I don't notice a lot of hate or toxicity towards Jadon Sancho in this community, and I obviously spend a lot of time with this community. So I think in the main, look, I know when, hands up. If you watch, I've not watched the Trent interview yet, Firefly, and we're talking about United, so I can't really comment on something that I haven't seen. But when I think about this community, because that's what I spend most time with, okay, Rashford is a bit of a divider. Bruno's a bit of a divider. Martial's been a bit of a divider. Maguire's certainly a bit of a divider. De Gea's had a bit of stick. Ronaldo at the moment. I would never put Jadon Sancho into there. I don't see a lot of stick towards Jadon Sancho. I don't see a lot of toxicity towards Jadon Sancho. It's a player that I like. I was very happy that we bought him. I think he's a very talented player. I think he's one of those players that can get you on the edge of your seat, and they're my favourite types of players. I would acknowledge, and I think he would acknowledge himself, that the first year and a bit at Manchester United has been very disappointing. And, he's got to do something this season, because if he doesn't, 2 years of disappointment, you are going to be labelled a flop. But I don't really feel that there's a negativity in the fan base towards Jadon Sancho, and I think that's a good thing. Now, maybe there is a lot of negativity on social media that I don't really see. Maybe it's coming from rival fans. Maybe this is an issue for Jadon. But the good thing is that as United fans, we follow United for years, and we see, look at Fellaini, look at other players in the past. They've had a lot of stick. Jadon Sancho's definitely not in that group of players that divides people. I think there is generally a lot of good feeling towards Jadon. I think everyone accepts he's not playing well, and they want more from him. But he's certainly not in that selection of players where it's like, I'd sell him tomorrow, or he's a joke, he's not good enough or anything like that. So I think that's something that hopefully people around him will, and hopefully he's aware of as well, that he is not a player that's disliked. He's not a player that there's a lot of toxicity for. I think the general summary of Jadon Sancho for me would be is that most United fans really like him. They really see that there's a good player there, and they want him to fulfil that talent. I think at the moment it's just a disappointment that he's not fulfilling the talent he is. And of course, look, the goal that we conceded in the Europa League to, was it Sheriff or was it the Cypriot side, where he passed the ball to Malacia, and then it was a bad pass, and half the team are running past him whilst he jogs back. That's an issue, and Ten Hag will tell him that's an issue. And Ten Hag has probably balled him out a few times and said, look, you're not playing well, you're not working hard enough, and I think we all know that. That's not toxic, that's just constructive criticism, and he's got to take that on the chin. But the good thing is, I don't think that there's a load of hate and abuse going towards him, and hopefully there won't be. I think there is that for some players. Whether it's deserved or not is another conversation. But no, look, all in all, I think we all, exclusively 100%, all United fans wish Jadon Sancho the best and want him back playing as well as he can, which is hopefully what will happen. And if this break is going to do him good, I just don't see it as breaking news. I think footballer takes themselves off social media to focus on themselves. What? Wow. And some people will say, oh, it's sad that he's got to take himself off social media. I don't think it's sad. I think more players should do it. You're a footballer. You've got to focus on what's best for you. Social media will never be the drug or hit or positivity you need it to be. It never will. Social media is something that if you're going to be on it, you've got to accept it for what it is. Why do you think people, when they're on TikTok, spend all day going? Because no matter how good the clip is, they still carry on. They still want their hit. They're still going. They're never satisfied. And that's social media. You're never satisfied with social media. It's always more, more, more. And if you read a good comment, you'll find a bad comment. And if that's going to put you in a bad place, just get off. Get off it. So I welcome Jadon Sancho for that. And let's see what the positives are from it. So, yeah, I wish him all the best anyway as a player, and I hope he does well. And, I was thinking about this last night when someone mentioned it on the watch-along, on the stream, and I said, you know what, he is one of those players where I don't really see a lot of toxicity against him, which is a good thing. Jadon got a lot of the penalty that could have really affected him, says Daniel Kirk. Yeah, and that's England again, isn't it? Manish says, get them all off social media. It's far too toxic for their job. Yeah, just if it's going to impact you, get off it. Get off it, because then there's banter. There's toxicity on and there's hate on social media. There's also the banter where you get ridiculed. So just get off it. Come off it. If you can't see it, you can't see it. It used to be don't read the papers. Now I'd say to players, just get yourself off social media. But the problem is, and let's be honest, and Jadon Sancho's got deals with Pepsi and stuff like that. The bad side of social media is the bad side for everybody. You can be at school and somebody in your class or in the school can be taking the piss out on your social media, and your little group are laughing and bullying at you. That could, it's not just Jadon Sancho or a footballer who gets it on a bigger scale. But of course, their agents want them on social media because it's about the brand. It's about how many followers have you got on Instagram, how many this, that, and the other, and that's the problem. If they focused on their football, they wouldn't need to be on there. But footballers are now brands, so they do need to be on there. You need to be, when you're not playing football, we need you in those trainers, we need you with this brand. So, I always find a level of hypocrisy with people who complain about, toxicity on social media when they use it for, you don't have to be on there, is what I'm saying. You don't have to be on there, do you? But I think taking a break from it's probably a good idea. And then that takes us to the third story, which is Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, it's coming from the Mirror, who have always been pretty good since Ten Hag came in around Manchester United. So I'll read you where this is coming from. This is coming from Mullock Mirror, who's been pretty good. And he says, Chelsea are ready to sign Cristiano Ronaldo if he's sacked by Manchester United. There's also another story coming out this morning that Real Madrid might move for Cristiano Ronaldo on a short-term deal if the injury for Benzema is a problem. So I would say that, you know what? Who cares? Who cares? DK says players get trolled all the time underperforming, but with Sancho it's on another level and our fans don't back him. I completely disagree with you, DK. I'm not sticking up for people who troll people, but I don't see Sancho getting anywhere near what Rashford's got, or Bruno gets, or Maguire gets, or McTominay gets. I don't think Sancho gets that. Now, I'll put my hand up and say maybe it's just our community that doesn't do it, but But I'm on social media as well. I don't see Jadon getting anywhere near as much as some other players do. And I think that's a good thing, because that means that the fans really want him to succeed and still believe that he can. Some people would say, well, he deserves it. He's been crap. I suppose that's social media, isn't it? Everyone has their say. But I do not really see it. From the fan base, I don't really see it from United fans, and I hope that stays. Anyway, look, what I'm trying to say is that I think that the fan base is supporting Jadon, and I think if that can be fed back to him in some way, shape or form, I think that could only be a positive thing for him, because just don't go on social media, because you will find some toxicity. But I think in general, the fan base is with you, mate. And hopefully you can get your head down and focus. And to be honest with you, I don't know whether this bothers him, but if I was pissed off that I wasn't playing well and I wasn't at the World Cup, I really wouldn't want to be looking at England teammates putting out pictures about what a great time they're having, because it would piss me off as well. It's just the way competitive people are. I haven't seen the Ryanair thing, so I can't comment on it. But then Ryanair are not Man United fans, and I don't go on TikTok either, Drip Football. So maybe I'm just not on the right platforms to look at it. But I'm talking about Man United fans. I'm not talking about Ryanair. There we go. Anyway, let's talk about this story from Ronaldo. Now, look, I've seen a few people talking about this. So it came out that Chelsea might sign Cristiano Ronaldo if he's sacked by Manchester United. I was reading some of the replies, and it was basically a bit of a 50-50 split, because some people were saying, don't really care, and some people were saying, we can't let him go to Chelsea, that'd be a joke. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Most United fans now are saying it's time to end the relationship with Cristiano Ronaldo. And a lot of those fans are saying he's finished. You can't have your cake and eat it. If you think Ronaldo's finished and you want him out of the club, why are you saying he can't go to Chelsea? Surely if he's finished, he's not a threat anyway. We can't do that. That is completely wrong. If you don't want Ronaldo at this club and you think he's finished, why do you give a shit where he's going to go? I personally think if he goes to Chelsea or Real Madrid, he'll score goals. And everyone will be going, why couldn't he score goals for United? And I will sit here like many people and say, because United don't create chances for their number 9. They didn't do it for Cavani. They don't do it for Martial. We don't create many chances for our number 9. And we don't. Statistically, over the last 3 years, we don't create many chances for our striker. And I think if he goes to a club where they create chances for their striker, he will score goals, because I don't think he's fell off. But I do think it's time for us to part ways, because last week, and to be honest, the interview was the final nail in the coffin, but I think we already knew it wasn't going to work out between Ten Hag and Ronaldo. So for me, we're not going to get a transfer fee. Ten Hag and Ronaldo are never going to sort their issue out. We can't keep paying somebody £500,000 a week who doesn't want to be here, and the manager doesn't want to be here. So the best course of action is to terminate the contract mutually, and he's a free agent completely. We can't mutually terminate his contract and then write something down that you can't go to Chelsea, you can't go to Real Madrid. We can't do that. So the end game here is that we don't end up paying him off. And as part of that, I think United will say you can go where you like. And, it benefits everybody. So I think that's where we're at with this. And, does anybody care if he goes to Chelsea? Should we do another poll? Let's do another poll. Are you bothered if Ronaldo goes to... Can't spell this morning. It's a long stream, 13 hours. Are you bothered if Ronaldo goes to Chelsea, yes or no? Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe, by the way. He needs to go to a club that will worship him. I don't think he will go to Chelsea, by the way, because I think for Graham Potter, it's a very similar situation to Ten Hag. I think Chelsea and Man United are in a very similar situation. I think they've got the right managers, but they're inexperienced managers at managing huge clubs in the Premier League. So Ten Hag, tried to put his foot down and has put his foot down, and Ronaldo's been the sacrificial lamb. If Ronaldo goes to Chelsea, that's not really what Graham Potter wants. Even Thomas Tuchel didn't want it. You don't want that huge personality over you. And, what if he goes to Chelsea and he is finished and Potter needs to bench him? It's the same problem. So I don't see him going to Chelsea, because I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps Graham Potter. But I do think he would score goals for Chelsea, and I do think it's what he's needed. Maybe a short-term deal, 6 months, that might be a good idea, because at the end of the day, what does it matter? But if I'm honest, would I be concerned about him going to Chelsea? I'd be concerned about him going to Chelsea and scoring 10 goals between January and May and helping them get top four. Yeah, I would. But I also have to say that I think we're all at a point now where we know that this can't continue at United. And I just don't think you can put yourself in a position where you say you can go, but you're not going to go there or there. I think we've lost that power. I think that it's like in a workplace, isn't it? If you're working at McDonald's and you don't want your burger flipper anymore, but then you want to get rid of them, and then you say, but you can't go and work for Burger King. That's not fair. That's not fair. You can't do that, because I want to go and build my career at somewhere else and prove you wrong, and you're saying I can't do that, and you're saying I can't do it here. So I don't think that's fair. I mean, some people would say, well, fairness doesn't come into it. We should make it as hard as possible. I get that, but I personally don't think he will go to Chelsea anyway. But I think if he did go to Chelsea, there's a potential that he could do very, very well. But I think United have to just back Ten Hag, and it'd be very, part of me is very interested by it. I'd be very interested to see what happens if Ronaldo did go to Chelsea in January, and then who do we replace him with? And that battle, I tell you what, Ten Hag's determination to be finished with Chelsea will go up tenfold. I think it would be a good thing for us. And then you've got Ronaldo at Chelsea determined to prove Ten Hag wrong. I think it would be make for a very interesting final 5 months, and it would probably benefit us because Ten Hag is very driven. But I can't see that happening. But I do think that what we do need to do is put ourselves into a situation where basically, I think the logical thing, I was speaking to somebody about this on Friday, is that the logical way to terminate a contract is to give Ronaldo some sort of payoff, which United will be completely loath to do because of, Seb, you've opened the door and the light's coming on me. I'm a vampire, it's going to make me disappear. But the logical thing in a termination of contract is that you give somebody, 3 or 4 months' wages and say, thanks for everything, off you go. And maybe you put them on gardening leave where they can't play for a while. But I think in this case, United won't want to pay Ronaldo money because of what he said. So I just think you've got to go, look, from tomorrow, you're not a United player. We owe you nothing. You owe us nothing. Go and do what you want. And in which case, we have got no say in where he plays. January will be hard, but I don't think Bruno will get injured. I don't think I've seen that man injured, says Daniel Kirk. Good point, to be fair. And are you bothered if Ronaldo goes to Chelsea? 70% of you are saying, no, you're not. Interesting there. 30% said they would. Whatever happens to Ronaldo needs to happen ASAP. Eric Ten Hag has a massive few weeks coming up as we need a new striker, and it's nearly December. Yeah, Lee, and I think we'll start to focus on that this week. I think there will be more stories coming out about that. He's not going to go to Chelsea because he wants Champions League. Says no. You're not aware that they're in the Champions League, mate. They are in the Champions League. And what I'm saying is he might go to Chelsea for the last 6 months of the season and then in the summer go somewhere else. I think what Ronaldo's looking at is short-term deals. I don't think he's going to get a 2-year deal anymore. So I think that what Ronaldo will do is he'll sign for a club for 6 months and then in the summer they'll reassess it. I don't think any club's going to give him an 18-month contract. So I don't think Chelsea Champions League next year really matters. But yeah, look, I don't. As I say, I don't think we can have our cake and eat this. I don't think we can say get out of my club, but you can't go there, or there. If we're terminating his contract, Ronaldo ain't stupid. George Mendes ain't stupid. They're not going to say, okay, we'll go for nothing, but you can agree. We'll agree not to go to a Premier League club. I think United have just got to. And it is a contradiction, as I say, because if he's not good enough to play for Man United in Ten Hag's eyes, why are you stopping him going to Chelsea? You can't have your cake and eat it. And I don't agree with that. No matter how much I disagree with that interview last week, I don't think we can put ourselves in a position where we're going, you're a bench player for us, I don't want to use you, but also not letting you go and play for another club. But I'd be very surprised if he went to Chelsea. Where he'll end up going, I don't know. I have heard that United are going to do something this week, and I think that would be great. I don't care about World Cup preparations. It's not our concern. We're Manchester United. We're not competing in the World Cup. As somebody just said there, we need to focus on our January transfer window, and to do that, we need to finalise the Ronaldo stuff. So, there is a rumour that United will make a statement this week about what's going to happen with Ronaldo, and I think that would be a good thing to do. Obviously he's playing for Portugal in the World Cup, but he did the interview now, which damaged us. I don't think it will damage him anyway. Why should we wait until the World Cup's over? So I think United probably will announce something next week, and then they need to be moving on to sort things out for the January transfer window. Of course they do, but yeah, where do I think he'll go as a prediction? I don't know. Where does anyone? We can all play the guessing game. 71% if you don't mind if he goes to Chelsea. I don't think he'll go to Chelsea. I personally don't think he'll go to Sporting Lisbon either. I think he'll do a January to May deal with somebody in the Champions League, because I don't see the point in him going to Sporting Lisbon in the Europa League. That might be all that's left to him, but I think he will take a wage cut. I mean, at the end of the day, he's on about £500,000 a week, right? If George Mendes goes to a Champions League club and says, look, you can have Cristiano Ronaldo for 5 months for 250 grand a week and you don't need to pay Man United anything, somebody, and that's cheap, he might get 300 grand a week, but somebody's going to bite on that. You know what football's like. We've had people come out of prison and be signed by League 1 and 2 clubs. So, Ronaldo for free on half his wages for 5 months, there's going to be a club in the Champions League that takes him. I don't know who. It could be someone as big as Real Madrid or PSG. It could be Chelsea. It might be somebody not that big. But I do think that somebody will do it. I really do, because they're not going to have to pay United a fee. And I think Ronaldo is so fit, he will do it. Fabrizio Romano has just confirmed that there will be no replacement for Benzema, says the French coach. Koulibaly replacing Nkunku, so no new changes in the list for the World Cup. There we go. Manchester United could be set to make an announcement to clarify Cristiano Ronaldo's future next week. There were signs of trouble in the summer, but Ronaldo's actions have still surprised Ten Hag and Man United players. That's on a retweet from Fabrizio Romano. So yeah, it looks like we might get something next week in relation to that. Sky is saying Sporting. I mean, look, I don't know. I've got no inside knowledge, but I don't think it makes sense for Ronaldo to put himself in a position where he's free and he can reduce his wages for 5 months to then go to a club that's in the Europa League. I don't think that makes any sense. I think he will try and get a Champions League club and try and score a couple of goals just to keep. I mean, I know it's very vain and it's very egotistical, but let's call it what it is. He's scared of Messi breaking his Champions League record. I don't know what the gap is between Messi and Ronaldo in the Champions League. I'm sure somebody in the chat can let us know. But I'd say he probably needs 2 or 3 goals more to, keep Messi from taking that record. He can't stand still. So, I think that he will try and go to a club. And look, Ronaldo said to Piers Morgan, he's rich. Of course, you want to earn 500k a week if you can do. But if you want your Champions League record, then I think that he will say to somebody in the Champions League, I will play with you for 5 months for 250 grand a week. And you haven't got to pay any transfer fee. So Messi's apparently 10 goals behind him, which is a lot. It is a lot. But add a couple more goals to that, I don't think Messi will beat it. I don't think Messi's going to get 12 goals before he retires in the Champions League. I mean, he could do. He definitely could do. But I don't necessarily think he will do. But if Ronaldo doesn't compete in the Champions League again, Messi will break that record. So I think Ronaldo is obsessed with being in the Champions League. I personally think that the plan all along was to get out of United for free because no one will pay a transfer fee for Ronaldo. And then Ronaldo and Mendes will go around all the Champions League clubs and say, what would it take for you to take me? And if somebody said, we'll take you for 200 grand a week, I think he'll go. I think that's what the plan is. And you can understand it. I think he will have found it very, very frustrating. I think when he came to United, I don't think he thought we were going to win the Champions League, but I think he expected us to be in the Champions League. And I think he would have expected in the Champions League to score 3 or 4 goals for the next 3 years, which is another 12, which would keep him ahead of Messi. And he's completely flatlined, hasn't he? He can still play in the Champions League. If you remember Mkhitaryan and Alexis Sanchez, we swapped them with Arsenal. And I think the way it had worked was that one had played in the Europa League and then played in the Champions League for us, and the other way around. But obviously Ronaldo's not played in the Champions League, so he can play in the Champions League in the second half of the season. So I think that will happen. Benfica maybe. I don't know. I don't think he would go to Benfica because of Sporting. I don't think he would do that. But they'd also get a load of shirt sales as well. I mean, look, if I was the president of a Champions League club and Ronaldo and Mendes came to me and said, let me come to you and prove you wrong. I'll get in your starting team. I only want 250 grand a week and, you know, a percentage of the shirt sales, I'll do it, because I'll make that money in 5 months. I will make that money back in 5 months easily. Easily. But we'll have to just wait and see what happens with it, won't we? United need to just cut ties, as I said. A few people asked about the studio. We did a video last night that I'm sure lots of people haven't actually watched yet. It's our Ten Hag mid-season review. It's in the studio, and you're very welcome to watch it. We've done a couple of shows in the studio already. We've got a few more coming up for you. We've got a lot of watch-alongs that are going to be in the studio. But I start the watch-alongs today in my little setup, as usual, for Qatar against Ecuador. So we will be live this afternoon. I think it's a 4 o'clock kickoff, so we'll be live at about 3:30, I think. But I'm just going to whack it in the link for you and pin it. Studio show, watch here. So basically, me, Adam, Beth, and Charlie did a show ranking Ten Hag out of 10 for his mid-season review. Flop of the season so far, most improved player, signing of the season, where we think we're going to finish, and all that jazz. So it's well worth a watch, and I've pinned it to the top of the live chat there. Thank you everyone for watching. Big shout outs for everyone who got involved in the stream yesterday. Amazing what we did. And don't forget, this afternoon, That's Football, first World Cup watch along. We're going to be doing all the watch alongs there. So if you are a United Stand member of this community and you're going to be watching World Cup games, don't forget to dip in on That's Football. We will be there chatting away. I think we'll be chatting away about a lot this afternoon, because I don't think Ecuador against Qatar is going to be a game that's really going to be high on everyone's list as a must watch. I think hopefully it'll be a good game, but I think we'll be chatting about a lot of stuff as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to check out that studio show. I've pinned it at the top of the chat, or you can go through the homepage and tune in on That's Football at 4 o'clock. I will be back tonight at 8 o'clock with the 8 o'clock show as well on here. So yeah, speak to you all in a bit.